of the National Biosafety Management Agency coming on television to tell us, national television, to tell us that Nigeria needs GMOs. On which research? On which research? She quoted a 2018 quote by Bill Gates saying that Africa's population will double by 2050 and Africa will be food insecure. Then she personalized it to Nigeria to say that Nigeria's population will double by 2050. So we need GMOs. Who came up with that research? Who said that? We have vast arable land in the country. When you fly over any place, when you fly over Nigeria's airwaves and you look down, you'll see vast arable land. Then why do we need GMOs? This is a report. And do you know something interesting? I wrote to the DG of that organization. I wrote to her in February this year. I took the letter personally to the office and I got an acknowledgement copy. And I based that letter on the experience of the cotton farmers. And I wrote and I highlighted the concerns. Then I highlighted other countries in the world. India has a record of more than 300,000 of their farmers that died from cotton farming. Suicide, they killed themselves because the same promise, the same seeds. I even highlighted in that letter where the seed owners, the seed patent owners, Monsanto, came up to say that they accept that their seeds have failed. Monsanto have that report. They came up with that report in 2011 that the GMO cotton seeds have failed. Even our next door neighbors, not too far from us, Burkina Faso also, have a very elaborate report on the failure of cotton seeds. But Nigeria refused to look at the lessons of those nations and other nations that have turned down GMO cotton. Even Malawi tried it for 6 months. It didn't pass their tests. It didn't pass their confined field trials. They shut down the project and discarded the whole thing. But Nigeria adopted it 22 days after it was applied for.
This is a very tragic, if we think we understand this the way we need to understand it, it's a very tragic development, particularly because, we can look at the science of it. We can look at what the experimenting of these GMO seeds has given to us. And if we're not so blinded by the benefit of money, then we can realize that we're losing a lot more.
Today I speak not only to Nigeria, not only to West Africa, but to the whole continent, and to every heart that beats for true freedom. There is a storm approaching, and it is not made of rain or thunder. It is made of plans, hidden in plain sight. It is made of smiling faces carrying poisoned gifts. It is made of men who speak of feeding Africa while secretly starving her soul. They call it GMO, genetically modified food. They dress it in fine words, they parade it as the solution to hunger. But it is nothing more than a chain made of seeds, a chain made of dependency, a chain that will bind the hands of African farmers until they can no longer feed their own children without permission. And in this agenda, there are willing tools, men who move through our land, destroying crops, spilling the blood of those who till the soil. In Nigeria today, the farmer does not only fear drought or pests, he fears the very path to his own field. He fears that if he steps onto his land to plant God's seeds, he may not return home alive. There are herds driven not by hunger alone, but by a mission, to eat every crop, to destroy every harvest, to make farming a dangerous memory. And when fear grips the farmers, when their fields are abandoned, when the granaries are empty, the same hands will come offering their solution. Steeds you cannot replant, food you cannot own, life you cannot control. Do you not see the trap? These GMO seeds, they give you one harvest and leave you with nothing for the next season. The watermelon has no seed. The maize will not grow again. You will go back to the same sellers year after year, begging for what God has already given you for free. And they will set the price. They will decide who eats and who starves. They will hold your future in their warehouses and laboratories. If it was truly a blessing, Africa would be the last to see it. But no, they wrecked it here because the true aim is not to feed Africa, but to control her. Understand this. If you control oil, you can control economies. If you control gold, you can control trade. But if you control food, you control life itself. You decide who breathes tomorrow. And this is the plan for Africa. And my brothers and sisters in Nigeria, you must hear me clearly. Your land is the key. Your nation is the giant whose awakening will shake the chains off the entire continent. The world knows this. That is why your oil is never yours, why your currency is attacked, why your farmers are under siege. If Nigeria stands free, truly free, then Africa will no longer kneel before anyone. This may sound like a dream, but history will tell you, Nigeria has always been the heart of African destiny, and now they seek to choke that heart. Do you not see? This is not about hunger. Africa has never been poor in food. We are rich in the rains, rich in the rivers, rich in the soil that can grow life 1,000 times over. Our hunger is not for bread, our hunger is for freedom, freedom where no foreign hand controls our oil, our gold, our cobalt, our diamonds, or the very food that touches our lips. We must say no, not with whispers, but with the full voice of a continent. We must refuse the chains of dependency disguised as technology. We must protect our farmers, because the day a farmer lays down his hoe in fear, the nation has already begun to starve. To my Nigerian brothers in the villages, to my sisters in the markets, know this, you are not alone. Your struggle is Africa's struggle. Your victory will be Africa's victory. And to those who sit in comfort while the land bleeds, remember, the soil you ignore today will feed your children tomorrow. And if you sell that soil to strangers, your children will eat from their hands, not from yours. The time for silence is over. The time for waiting is over. The revolution is not a dream for tomorrow, it is the call of today. Rise, protect your land, guard your seeds, defend the harvest. We cannot allow Africa's food to be signed away in contract we did not write, in languages we do not speak. We cannot allow our farmers to be hunted in their own field. We cannot allow the gift of God, the seed, to be replaced with the chains of man-made control. In my own country, Burkina Faso, we too saw dark days. We saw fields left untended, villages abandoned, marketplaces silent, not because the people forgot how to farm, but because they could no longer walk freely on their own land. There were groups moving with herds, crossing lands without respect for boundaries, allowing their animals to consume the sweat of farmers, and using fear as a weapon. It was not simply the loss of crops that hurt us, it was the loss of trust, the feeling that the earth was no longer ours to work. Many stayed away from their fields, and when the hands that feed a nation are forced to stay idle, hunger becomes a shadow over every home. But my people decided, enough. We rose not with anger alone, but with the understanding that no foreign force, no organized pressure, no calculated fear should dictate our right to live from our land. We organized our communities, we defended our farmers, we stood together until the land was free again to produce without fear. And now I look at Nigeria, and I see a familiar struggle. I see farmers in the north, the middle belt, the south, men and women who once walked to their fields with joy, now going with unease or not going at all. I see fertile land that could feed millions, lying in silence. And I see the danger that when the fields are empty, another hand will arrive with the so-called solution, the seed that cannot be replanted, the food that is not truly yours. This is why I tell you, what is happening is not by accident. It is a chain of events designed to break the independence of Africa's food system. They weaken the farmer with fear, they weaken the soil with neglect, and then they enter with their gift that costs more than gold. Burkina Faso learned that we cannot wait for others to save us. We cannot wait for outside help to restore our dignity. We had to protect our land, our crops, our herds, and our farmers ourselves. And we did. It was not easy, but it was necessary. Nigeria must do the same. Your land is rich, your people are strong, and your history is proof that when you decide to rise, nothing can hold you down. This is the time to rise not just for yourselves, but for the farmers in Ghana, in Mali, in Chad, in Niger, and across Africa who are watching and hoping. Do not think this is only about today's harvest. No, it is about the future of your children and grandchildren. If we surrender our seeds today, they will inherit dependency tomorrow. If we protect our seeds today, they will inherit freedom tomorrow. And this is why the GMO plan is dangerous. It looks harmless, even helpful, but in reality, it is the slow surrender. It is a way of saying to Africa, your soil is no longer your power, your rain is no longer your blessing, your food is no longer your choice. We in Burkina Faso faced those who tried to disrupt our way of life. We stood together, farmers, herders, traders, leaders, and we found solutions rooted in unity, dialogue, and community defense. We restored the dignity of working the land without fear. Nigeria, you too can do it. You too can protect your farmers. You too can ensure that the seeds God gave you are never replaced with seeds that come with conditions. Because when you control your seeds, you control your future. When you control your food, you control your destiny. And when you control your destiny, no one writes your story for you. Thank you for your time. And I tell you, my brothers and sisters, this truth is written in the soil of Africa. Our enemies know it, and that is why they strike at the roots, not just the trees, not just the harvest, but the very courage of the farmer to plant. Because the day we control our food is the day no one controls us again.
Come outside to debunk our claim about GMO food. Recently a lot of us have been condemning GMO food, claiming it's toxic for our health, that is not good for consumption and all of that. Director General of Nafdac in Nigeria have come outside to say all our claims are not true. That GMO food is good for consumption, that is healthy to consume, that it will not harm human beings. Now, to those of us claiming that GMO food is not good for us, and somebody that know more than us come outside to say that this food is safe and good for our health, who are we to say no to our claim? But somebody like me have question for her. I'm not disputing her claim, but I have question for her. I'm sure a lot of Nigerians also have question for her. Now, a lot of countries have said they don't want GMO food because it's not good for health, and science have confirmed that GMO food is not good for humanity. And a lot of countries have sent GMO food out of their country, claiming it's toxic to humanity. These are not African countries. The European country that we respected so much, that African respect so much, come outside to say GMO food is not good for their health, that is not good for humanity, that is not good for consumption. Some even say they don't want to see Bill Gates in their country. So somebody in Nigeria now come outside to say GMO food is good for our health. Europe country that Bill Gates come from rejected GMO food, and somebody in Nigeria said the food is good for consumption. Why I'm curious is this safety GMO claim is coming from a country where the citizens did not trust the government sector. A lot of us did not trust every aspect of government in that country. Every government sector in that country is corrupt. This is not my claim. Right from the health to the custom to our police officer to military personnel to our leaders, all the sector are not trusted by Nigerians. It's not that we just wake up one day not to trust these people, but they give us reason for us not to trust them. And somebody from that same country now come outside to say GMO food is good for consumption, when a lot of European countries have condemned GMO food, claiming it's not good for our health. So how can we trust you, Allegedly, with your claim, some of us think that you've collected bribe. Allegedly. So how can you convince us? Because we need you to convince us more on this GMO food. You cannot just come outside and say the GMO food is good for our health. The only thing that is good and healthy for our health is nature. Anything nature produce, or anything that is being produced in the lab is not safe for humanity. Even the pills that we consume when we are sick, instead of consuming natural herb, those pills we consume that they are being made in lab is not good for our health. The herb are the one good for our health. Now, these pills that they've introduced to us, that we abandon herbs to pills, is the one making us sick. Sometimes we'll get where, and before you know, we get sick again. So anything produced in lab is not always good for our health. Anything that nature gives to us is always healthy to us. So how can you convince us that this GMO food is truly good for our health? Please, we need more proof, so that we'll be rest assured and be confident in this GMO. I'm sure a lot of Nigerians too want more proof to your claim. Anyway, share your thoughts on the comment section responsibly, and for those that love to cry responsibly on the comment section. Thank you.
What up, gentlemen? My name is Wada Presido Karakuta Republic, and this is a very important message to the federal government and the Senate President concerning genetic modification food in this country. Why I'm passing this message on time is this. This topic is being deliberated in Senate, and we don't want to wake up to a news that this was approved. Why is the United States being able to impose or sanction different countries with tariff? Because of the benefits that that country is getting from them. Even Nigeria, they have imposed 20% to 30% tariff, and they will force Nigeria to obey to their commandments because Nigeria is benefiting something from them. Anybody, any entity, any organization that has access and has control to your food supply has a lot of control to your entire life. If you don't do this for us, we are going to increase your tariff to 30%, and they will be forced to do it because they are benefiting something from United States. Africa, we don't want to be in any position where we'll be left at anybody's mercy. If there is anything good have come from the Western communities, they will not bring it to Africa. They are seeing Africans like animals. So I don't see any reason why all of a sudden they will be feeding us in our mouth. We don't need their food. Cancer is wiping them up and down. Ebola virus did them dirty. Coronavirus did them dirty. It didn't come to Africa because Africa is resistant to diseases. They are the ones susceptible to diseases. So if there are people that need genetic modification, they are the ones that need it. We don't need it. Let them modify themselves to be like us. We don't want to be like them. The Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, is somebody that don't give a fuck about whatever is going on. When the entire country was protesting, hunger protests, Senate President opened his mouth and he said that he would be in his house eating rice and turkey. So he's somebody that doesn't give a fuck what you think. He doesn't give a fuck if you are protesting. That's why I'm making this video on time now. Because he may say that he doesn't give a fuck. If he approves it, then everybody will start protesting and he doesn't still give a fuck. We are making this as an early information. We don't want the approval in the first place. The last article I read is that genetic modification crops is going to modify our soil to be adapted to their crops only. And that is one. And it's capable of modifying your own human genes. So if there exists a time where our soil are now rejecting our own crops and accepting only their own, it simply means that the entire Africa is going to subscribe to buying genetic modification foods from them. Not only will Africa be making them a whole lot of money, it's making Africa, putting entire Africa to their mercy because they can remove their food supply and Africa will have to beg them. We don't want to be in any situation where we will be having to beg them for their favor. We are fine without them. Anybody that has control to your food supply has a control to your entire life. They will make demands that the entire Africa cannot be able to afford. The federal government, the Senate President, genetic modification foods, we don't want it. And somebody like me, we are willing to go to any length to make sure that it doesn't come to Nigeria. Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, the federal government, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, this is a very important message. The entire Nigerian people and the entire African people, we are saying genetic modification foods, we don't want it.
Please leave Africa alone. No, leave Nigeria alone. Because we are tired.
Honestly, this guy deserves to be celebrated in the sense that he remains who he is, challenging this man known as Bigot. Honestly, this Bigot was invited in House of Representatives. You know, this guy challenged him. In fact, Africa should celebrate this guy, standing boldly to tell Bigot to leave Africa alone. But the question is, why is Bigot forcing Africa as a whole to accept his genetically modified food? He just wants to control African population. The question is he our God? What gave him the impetus? Guys, watch this guy's challenge and feel free to drop a opinion in the comment section.
It's not by nobody telling me or I'm hearing it from there or propaganda or conspiracy theory. This is not from conspiracy theory. Take my word and share it to me. Please send it if possible. Have you get the video I am going to be putting it and make sure that this video gets to me direct. Please leave Africa alone. No, leave Nigeria alone. Because we are tired. We have seen a lot of atrocities being committed around the world. Not to India today. They embrace the GMO food. What is happening? People are dying day by day. Some African countries too. If you know that your name is Bigot, go to Russia and go and advertise GMO. I am sure that you will not come back alive. So why are you interested in our own plant, our own organic seed? Our organic seed, if you want to invest in our agriculture, go and buy our organic seed, buy land and plant. It's a business venture. You can start a business of agriculture in Nigeria, no problem. As a matter of fact, me and my billionaire friends, we are going to be buying several lands. And we're going to be occupying a lot of space to plant our natural seed, the natural seed that God gave to us, not one that they put in the lab to go and tamper with. If I personally see any store selling a GM, I am surprised to see. This is my first time of seeing this in my life. If I go to any store and see this, I personally will take it and I will mark it to the ground. Let them arrest me and take it to jail. I'm ready to go to jail for this. We are not talking here. People are too relaxed. This is a matter of security. It's our fault. People are dying because of this. There is no time to speak plenty English. Let the conversation start now. The conversation please will start now. Look at what is given for you to eat. And it will be killing you gradually. My brother, your questions have been answered. Go to your platform and start discussing about the GMO food that have been brought to Nigeria to kill us. I will go to Asoro. I will go and meet my president. I will tell him the risk and the danger of this. I will go to the House of Assembly after now. I will go and meet you and go to meet them and tell them the risk of this. Thank you so much. Thank you. The media, don't come this far. See, I hope you are recording. I need my video, please, to get legal things down. Thank you very much.
Let's just get it off the table, first of all. What are GMOs and are they bad for us? GMOs are genetically modified foods when it comes to food, and they are not bad for us. They're not. They are not bad for us, depending on what type of foods they are and whether the safety considerations have been taken. The National Biosafety Management Agency, NBNA, is the agency charged for ensuring safety of foods that have GMOs.
Okay.
We work in collaboration with them. I'm a food freak. I want to know that what I'm eating is going to give me a good health outcome. I look at the label. I want to be sure that Nafdac label is on it, or if I'm outside the country, well, I don't do a lot of shopping now, but before my time in Nafdac, when I had all the time, I would look at the label. And it's supposed to have genetically modified food written on it.
Okay.
We work in collaboration with the Biosafety Management Agency. We have an MOU with them. They are mandated to ensure that the foods that have GMO are of quality, they are safe, and they are efficacious. Or they are safe. Actually, the efficacy is another agency that is taking care of that.
Okay.
So, when you look at foods on the table, in the market, especially grocery stores, you will see foods labeled organic. You will see labels that are not organic.
Yes.
And people have choice to buy which one they want. But for Nafdac, our goal, we are mandated to ensure that the food that we approve for the market are safe, they are of quality, of course, and they are efficacious. So that is the reason why the collaboration between us and MBNA is very, very solid. Without them certifying that they have done their due diligence in their laboratory or for desk review or whatever, we cannot approve.
Okay.
So it's a joint collaboration between us and the biosafety.
So, Prof, if I go to the store,
Yes.
I check, because I love food.
Not done anything.
Yeah,
but in terms of GMO,
Yeah.
we do not think it is safe. We don't think it is safe for our own consumption.
That's the position of your...
Nafdac. Exactly.
Why do you think so?
First, because a lot of research has not been done in terms of the safety of GMO products, and the genetics of the seeds have been modified until we get a very convincing. They're bad for us. GMOs are genetically modified foods when it comes to food, and they are not bad for us. They're not. They are not bad for us, depending on what type of foods they are and whether the safety considerations have been taken.